More than 20 years have passed since my cousin Chris died, and I'm still obsessed by his story. I want to understand why Chris, a young Swiss man who grew up in a peaceful country, joined a faraway war and ended up dead.
Animation is very strong when it comes to try to find images for things which are difficult to show, and especially in a topic like war. I mean, how do you show the cruelty of war? And it's also very nice if you, to go into the subjective perspective somehow, and to enter the heads of the protagonists.
The visual aspect of the animated part, where did this came from? Like the way it looks, because it's like kind of abstract at times or surreal even, and I had a feeling like this is maybe like a child's perspective of war.
I mean, in fact, I really had a nightmare when I was a child after his death. That's probably how I was, getting along, or I mean, learned to live with his death. And then, I mean, when you were trying to find images for some, for the danger, for the bad thing, whatever, however you call it, I thought, okay, the most dangerous is actually the things that you don't really see, but that you imagine. And I was searching for some symbol, some images that everybody who watched the film can connect with. So that's why I took this swarm-like thing. Because I think it can connect can work for several people, and it brings everybody back to his own nightmare, because everybody has his own issues, every family has a story. So
yeah, this is very much a story about Chris, but I think like you also give this like wider context of the war and the situation after Yugoslavia fell apart. Was it hard to navigate these two aspects, or was it something that came naturally when you were writing a script, or something that just evolved after?
No, it didn't come naturally, but for me it was like very important to not only talk about the family, because this might be important for me and the family, but it's not important actually, or it's not worth to make a whole film out of it. So for me it was very important to have this wider context. But it's actually a result of a long editing process. We were really editing a lot. Of course I had it in the script, but script and film in documentaries always...
Yeah, it's unpredictable.
I've seen young guys who fight for an idea, but I have seen those things on the other side too.
And all the archive footage, was it hard to get them? Because it was like from back in Yugoslavia, from a country that doesn't really exist anymore. So
yeah, it was kind of hard, a lot of work, because first of all, like you said, most of the archive material originally belongs to the Yugoslav TV, which is not existing anymore. And second, you had a lot of freelance journalists in that war. Yeah, because for the agencies it was good to send freelancers. Because like this they don't need to take the responsibility for the journalists. So we had to find the sources, and it turned out that sometimes we thought we found it and we wanted to buy it in an agency or whatever, and they said, yeah, we have the rights. And then in the very last moment they said, actually no, it's not with us, the rights, and we have no clue where they are.
Es hat einfach Journalisten gegeben, die wurden nicht mit der Tatsache fertig, dass sie als Zuschauer dort sind, dass sie als Beobachter dort sind.
Can we touch a little bit on the controversy issue with the Croatian state? what happened exactly and how did your team dealt with?
Croatia is a co-production country of the film, so they are co-producing. We applied in the regular way. They greenlighted the project. And my idea was to bring the animation crew to Croatia and to work there and establish a studio. So that's what we did. And then in the meantime, the government changed. And yeah, we kind of got into the spotlight of politics. And, because of the subject, of course. And it was kind of funny because journalists started to write about the project like 2 years before we released the project. So it was funny for me because I had the impression that they know how the film would look like, even if I did not know yet. So it was a really absurd situation. They tried to block the project for quality reasons. They didn't let to pass it, like you have to present the project for a second time when you finished it, so they can like give you the last installments of the money.
The last seal of approval. And
they didn't let it go. There is some expression which are still in the archives. We call the war a civil, I mean not we, but the archives call the war a civil war. And it's actually, in Croatia you should not call this war a civil war.
Okay.
And the thing is, it's in the archives, so it's the Swiss radio, Swiss radio reporter in 1991 who calls it the civil war, when for Switzerland it was a civil war at that time because Croatia was not recognized yet by other countries. And the second part is Chris himself in the archives. He talks about the civil war, and I said, okay, I'm not going to change it because historical-wise it's okay. Because, of course, Croatia did already decide to be independent, but it was not yet accepted by the major community and the rest of the world.
And when did Sinisha get involved in this project?
He stepped in quite early when we were doing the research, and when I came for the first time to Croatia, I met him, and he drove me around.
So this scene that's captured in the film, this is actually you two meeting for the very first time?
No, we met before, and I think you can see that we know each other already.
Okay. And as far as I know, you already screened your film in most of the ex-Yugoslavian countries. So what was the general reaction of people, especially in Croatia, maybe?
The response was quite positive, I was very, very nervous when we showed it in Zagreb.
Yeah, I would say,
And everybody was very nervous. But of course, people who went were people who are kind of open to a subject like this as well. But of course, I can see the difference when I show it in France or in Zagreb. People are much more critical. But actually I like it because they know what I'm talking about. But my problem is when people are talking about the film without having seen it and not knowing what they're talking about.
That's true.
And the most of the part who is talking about the film haven't seen the film.
They returned your notebooks with your body, reports from the war.
Do you think now, looking back, that making this film, it brought some kind of closure to you or your whole family maybe?
Yeah, I think for me it definitely brought some peace, let's say, because I know exactly what happened to Chris. For me personally. For the family I'm not so sure about it because they were much closer, and you can also see it in the film. For his brother it's not done yet. And it will never be done. He learned to live with it, I think. to deal with it, but yeah. I mean, he's still very angry with Chris that
Yeah,
he did
that
such a
can
thing
be,
and everything.
Yeah,
So-
that can be seen in the film, I
Yeah.
think.
And a big part of the project is also that I am on the research. So I felt that it's important to have myself in the film, which I
Yeah.
actually hate, but my insecurities, my doubts, everything, and this is part of my quest and part of the film.
Okay.
You threw yourself headfirst into the mayhem of war. What did you want to be? A mercenary? A journalist?